We are in the middle of Vlogmas. I'm so excited to have you here. And this is one of my favorite videos to do for Vlogmas. I did this last year, but I was kind of like in the middle of deciding what to do in my own personal transition. So now I'm fully there. So I get to do this, and we are doing the entrepreneur tag. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Vernita White. I go by Dr. V, and I am the Brilliant Life Strategist and Educational Consultant. And we can put strategy with both of those, honestly. And what I do, I help high achieving professionals, mainly women, but there are also a few good men. I help them reclaim their voice with confidence, realign to their core values with clarity, and embrace reinvention with courage. So I love working with people who are ready to reinvent themselves for their next season in their lives. As far as educational consulting, I work in the areas of STEM education and leadership, also in the areas of diversity, equity, inclusion, which I like to call cultural consciousness. And honestly, the realigning, reclaiming, and reinvention, that can also go with school districts and universities as well. STEM and diversity are just the vehicle. So you are in the Vibe Tribe. We are in the middle of Vlogmas. I'm so excited to have you here. And this is one of my favorite videos to do for Vlogmas. I did this last year, but I was kind of like in the middle of deciding what to do in my own personal transition. So now I'm fully there. So I get to do this, and we are doing the entrepreneur tag. Yes, oh my goodness. You get to know a little bit more about me. I have some questions that I'm going to answer, and I can't wait till we get started. All right, so if you don't know, I said all of that in the beginning about what I do, and I help people really develop a plan for their lives, execute, hold them accountable to the dreams and goals that they said they wanted to accomplish. And I love doing that. I've been doing that technically all of my life. I started off as a classroom teacher, teaching mathematics. Then I went to, I didn't go to it. I was moved up sort of to become an academic coach. And then I wanted to be the U.S. Secretary of Education. So I was on this fast track to be like assistant principal, and then do all those things. But then working with school districts and schools that were labeled as low performing, we had a lot of people coming in that took over the school from like the state district level superintendents coming in and all of those things. And I was like, you know what? I want to go and be in a place where I can tell these people what to do, because they all, just because they have these titles and things like that and positions, they think they can come in and tell us what to do. And I was like, I'm a mathematics person. So a lot of people are afraid of math. So it's like, when was the last time you all even took a math class or even taught a math class to come tell us what to do? So in that moment, that's when I decided to go get my PhD. And even in the role as a teacher and an academic coach, and then I later worked at the district level over like a number of schools, I was always looking at the game plan. What do you want to achieve for your school? Or even with my students, what are you trying to do in life? What do you want to get out of this classroom? And even though they were sixth graders somewhere, when I transitioned, they were high schoolers, and then the teachers on the team. What do you want to do? What is our plan? Now let's execute. And then if you're having trouble with that execution, I have some strategies to get you there. I didn't know about the role of coaching or anything like that. I really didn't know that life strategist was an actual thing, right? Because that's all I've been doing. I was doing more than just teaching mathematics. I was leading people and helping them get to their next level. And then the same thing happened when I ended up being a college professor. I was doing the same thing. I was like, okay, you need to graduate. You need to pass this course. We need to have a plan for your life. What do you want to do? Especially the ones, they were in an education program, but they didn't really want to be classroom teachers. But they were like, well, I'm just here now. I didn't know what else to do. And then I helped them figure out plan. And I didn't know this, but I did help them figure out like the best way, different things that they can do with their degree. Look at some other options. And then I even help people because I was in the elementary program, and my background is secondary mathematics. And I even told them ways to how to navigate through the system to still be able to teach in secondary, even though they came from an elementary program. And then, I looking back on it, I did a whole lot of strategizing and holding people accountable. So while others may have seen this as a natural transition, I didn't. I was fighting it because I was like, an entrepreneur, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. Who wants to do that? In my mind of what an entrepreneur did, I was like, oh, that's be in business. I don't know anything about that. So I avoided. I was like, I'll just do a side hustle. I'll do something on the side. And I started consulting and things like that. And that was cool. And then I think somewhere on my channel, I talk about my journey in this coaching space and things like that. But I've been doing that all of my life. And I guess God was like, all right, you keep playing. I'm just going to put you out there. And that sort of happened. So sometimes I refer to myself as the forced entrepreneur because it really did happen that way. But things were already being put in place. I just had to stop throwing a temper tantrum and actually walk into it. So I am now a full-time digital entrepreneur. I love saying that. I say infopreneur mostly because I love to give information. I love to teach. I love to share. I love to watch people have aha moments. And I love to give people actual advice versus theory. Now, I can do that too. I love some theory and some research, but I'm also very practical. And then, so that's where the infopreneur, I do this by speaking, coaching, writing books, writing articles. So a lot of information gets put out. And then digital, while we are in the virtual space, I love being in the virtual space. Of course, there's nothing like being live, but the amount of people I can touch in the virtual world you just can't do that live. So digital infopreneur, I got that word from Marie Forleo, and I've been rolling with it ever since. So let's get into this entrepreneur tag. There are several questions that I'm going to answer. And I got this from one of the business coaches I had, and it just spiraled from there. And I'm happy to do it again this season to see the growth. I didn't even go back and look at my other videos, so I don't know what I said, but you can go back to Vlogmas 2020 and watch that video. All right, so it says, tell us who tagged you and where can you find their video. So the person, she didn't tag me this year, but excuse me, I wanted to do it again, but her name is Dr. Tracy Timberlake, and you can find her on YouTube. She started off as a beauty blogger, and now she is the millionaire business coach. We call her, what do we call her? The mindset whisperer, the money mindset whisperer, and things like that. So go look her up on Instagram, look her up on Instagram and YouTube. So that's the person I got this from. The second question is, now tell us who you are and what you do. I just did that, that whole spiel in the beginning. But to be more clear, especially about this life strategist part, I really didn't like the word life coach because it felt like it was just so out there and woo-woo. And I have a PhD in mathematics and education, so I don't need to be out there woo-wooing, right? So I needed something in my mind that said, okay, I do understand coaching, but I came from the academic coaching space. And then in the time that we're in, coaching is like popping up. It's like the new it thing to do. So I didn't want to be like that person. So I've been going back and forth, like what to call myself. And the brilliant life strategies, I love the brilliant part because my movement is embracing brilliance. And I'll talk about that in a second. But what I had to look at, what does a life strategist do? What is a consultant and what is a coach? And while I do coach people, the key to what I do is I love when people, I get to pull out, what do you actually want to do in life? Especially those of us, the people that have these degrees, like beyond a bachelor's degree. Not saying that I can't work with people with bachelor's degrees, that's not what I'm talking about, but those of us who have all of these degrees and trying to figure out, okay, I fast-tracked my career pretty much. Now I'm sitting here with all this life, and what else can I do with what I have? And that's where I come in. Talk to them, we map out a plan, and then we map it out, and I hold them accountable to do what they said they wanted to do. The part that people don't know or they don't come to me for, not realizing they need it, is a lot of personal development and mindset work. And it's not a sexy thing like business and relationships and, financial coaching like that. So it doesn't seem as attractive. And I was like, no one wants to come to me because I'm not talking about relationships, business, or money. But when I tell people, it's like, you've been stuck here far too long. What else do you want to do with life? And have you looked at your entire life outside of your career? Let's tap into that. And then so the women I've worked with, they discover some passions that they buried deep down inside. And because, you know, they've been focused on a career, we uncover those, and then they realize why they've been stuck, why they haven't been able to move on that desire. And that's where I come in again with the coaching part to say, okay, and I have a framework that I walk people through, but it all depends on what they come to me for. And then we work through that. And then it's a mindset thing. And then, like I said, the strategy part is, okay, you want to write this book, you want to start this business. I'm not saying that I'm a business coach or a publisher or anything like that, but I know some things to put in place to help them to get that started, right? So that's what I do there. And then consulting is STEM leadership. My whole dissertation was about this area and how to improve that in K-12 schools and universities, and working with leaders, helping them understand their own limiting beliefs about mathematics and science and engineering like that, and then enhance the leadership that they already have. So it's a content focus on the leadership. And it ties into with diversity, equity, inclusion, and cultural consciousness, because if like you don't believe certain kids deserve to be in an environment or in a certain career, then it shows up in who you are as a person, and it shows up in your leadership. Like I did a series, we teach, lead, and serve who we are at our core. So all of, like I said, all of that realigning with your voice, realigning with your core values, and embracing reinvention and reclaiming, all of that still ties into the consulting as well. So that is what I do, and that's the results I produce in the world. All right, the next one, favorite thing about being an entrepreneur. Like I said, I say the forced entrepreneur because I didn't want to do it, but now that I'm here, I get to create things the way I want them. When I worked even though I had some autonomy as a K-12 teacher, and at the college level, it was still like a cap of what I could do and really what I can say. And I'm already a straightforward person. I do tell it like it is. I'm a little rebel in certain cases, but I still understood that you can only push the envelope so far in an institution or a structured environment. But now I get to say what I want to say, how I want to say it, and be able to stand on my own and say, no one, you can't tell me I can't do it this way, because people who want to learn from me or work with me, they come to me versus me putting I don't even want to say my beliefs, but the things my strategies or my expertise, is not like I'm forcing it on people. So anyone who knows about doing professional development, trainings, teaching, or anything like that, everyone, they're just there some people just there for the popcorn. They really don't want to be there. And you're like pouring out. And it's sometimes people take it, sometimes they don't. Or when, people who are not part of your class come in or part of your lecture come in, they're like, why are you doing it this way? It's just a lot. But now as an entrepreneur, I can put things out and people decide that they want to come. And it's like when they show up, they really want to hear from me. So that's one of my favorite parts so far about being an entrepreneur, is just having true autonomy and knowing that people are showing up because it was their choice and I'm not, forcing people to hear from me. All right. So the next question, I think we have about 15 or 16 of these. So the next one, the least favorite thing about being an entrepreneur. I have to figure out my own schedule, my own time. Some of you may relate, and comment down below if you can relate. If you've been in an institution pretty much all of your life, with going to kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school, college, and then you went to get more degrees after that. And even if you're in a corporate environment, everything is pretty structured for you. You know your time slots, when to work, what tasks to do, what deadlines by when days. It's all pretty much laid out for you. You do get to customize a little bit, but for the most part, everything is laid out in a structure for you, right? But now it's like, I got all this time and I need to figure out what to do with all of this time. Like literally, I have to create and design my days, my weeks, my months, my year. And it's like, whoa. And it was cool. It was easier, honestly. Excuse me. It was easier when I was doing this kind of on the side, figuring out when I had my full career, even as a college professor. It was easier to do that and this because it was like, okay, I know where all that time goes. Now I'm filling in the gaps with this time. But now it was like, I got a whole bunch of time. And then it's like, it's so much that I have to get done. So that's my least favorite part. It can be exciting, but that's my least favorite part because if I don't put stuff together or if I don't structure my day, there's really no one there to say, hey, no class. I mean, unless I'm doing a group coaching program, that's different. But still, I still set that up, right? Or I get to turn that on and turn that off, you know, versus when I worked at the university, it's like every fall, every spring, every summer, you know that some people are going to be waiting for you. So, I mean, I'll say that's my least favorite part. How long have you been an entrepreneur? Honestly, this is going to be interesting. I would say all my life. And this is why I say all my life. I didn't know this, but I truly believe that God sets us up like from birth or well before birth, what he wants us to be and how he wants us to show up in the world. And I've always had these little inklings of, I really never wanted to work for anyone. I always wanted to do my own thing, but I didn't know how to articulate that. I didn't know what that looked like. No one in my immediate family were entrepreneurs. They've always had other things to do, or they were always entrepreneurs like, but no one was like full-time entrepreneurs. But it was always a pulling inside of me. So I will say all my life. Now, to be technical, I have an LLC for like 5 years now, and I fully embraced, honestly, being an entrepreneur in 2020. So last year, where my mind caught up to what was already happening inside. So you may not like that answer, but that's the answer I'm going to give you. All right. It says the next question, the first person you hired besides your coaches and mentors, because that's important. You do need coaches and mentors, and I'll say paid coaches. Mentors are different. I think I did a video somewhere on my channel about that, but coaches are the people who are actually going to pay attention to you because you invested in that time. Mentors, they're great and we all need them, but they don't have to spend that dedicated time with you. You kind of get in where you fit in, right? But aside from either one of those, the first person I hired was a virtual assistant. And I fought that for the longest because I was like, don't I need to be pulling in all of this money before I hire a virtual assistant? And now that I have one, sometimes I forget I have her and she'd be like, hello, I'm here, give me something to do. But I didn't realize how much I needed a virtual assistant. And the time that I would spend creating things and doing like these smaller tasks, I could have given that to someone and it would have kept me doing focus on my highest income producing activity, right? What am I good at? What is the best? What is my zone of genius? What is my brilliance? And that's teaching people, strategizing with people and helping people, not creating posts and thumbnails and things like that. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But if that's not it doesn't bring me joy. That's what I want to say. Like, yes, I can do it, but my VA loves creating the thumbnails. She loves scheduling my posts. She loves organizing whatever I need for her to organize. She loves to put me in check. Was like, hey, you need to give me this, that, and the other so I can create. You know, she loves doing that. So it's like when she does it, it's like this whole weight was lifted off my mind and I could focus on creating my programs, looking at the strategy I need to grow my business so I can pay her, right? Because yeah, very worth it. And I will say this advice. If you're only able to afford the VA like every now and then, it was still worth it to like batch up some tasks, save up some money, go pay that person to do those tasks because lifesaver. And so I do want to eventually bring her on full time. She's part-time now. And yeah, it's been great. I'll probably, the next person, it's not a question, it's probably a like an off, not an office manager, what do they call it? I think it's an office manager or something like that, someone to manage the operations and things like that. That would be the next person. But I gave my VA kind of some of that task too, which is why I probably need to hire her full time. But that is the first person I hired, and I'm so happy that I did that. All right, next question. Tell the truth. How many hours of sleep do you really get a night? Honestly, I go to sleep. I get 7-8 hours of sleep. I goes to sleep. Or if I don't, if it's 6 hours or less, I'll take a nap during the day, because I used to be the one like, let me grind it out, especially in my doc program where I did not sleep. I probably slept 100 hours in 3 years during my doctoral program. And then when I became a college professor, I didn't sleep a lot either. I was always working and working, and that was not a good thing on my body. So I said, I am going to sleep no matter what. Now, there are times when I need to crank something out, like my mind is racing, I need to get this done, and I may stay up like, all hours of the night, or I may like kind of do some light stuff during the day and be up all night. But that's rare. And I told myself that we're not going to run ourselves into the ground, because that's really not the purpose of being an entrepreneur. You want to enjoy your time. You don't want to work for someone else just so you are a slave to your work, So I'm glad I did learn that early on, like, no, you need to get your rest, because as an entrepreneur, if you break down, the ecosystem can break down. And even though there are things that are set up on passive income and things like that, it's still me, right? So I actually do go to sleep, when I need to. And, I'm on camera a lot, so I don't have time to have the bags under my eyes and things like that. So I go to sleep. Next question. How many Facebook groups do you belong to? 57. It's probably more because I just joined a few more the other day, but it's 57, and I scrubbed that list. So it was more than that, but 57, it may be 62 now. But I'm intentional about the Facebook groups. I'm getting more intentional about being in them and being more active, because I'm a digital infopreneur. That's just where my people hang out. We're in the cyberspace together. So it's 57 to 62 Facebook groups. Let me know how many you're in down below. So comment down below and let me know how many Facebook groups you are in. This one says, what do you wear on an everyday basis? Biker shorts and a shirt, and it's pretty much all black or some sort of workout clothes. Unless I have to come on camera, then I have on, real clothes. But beneath is probably like some tights or my biker shorts. So that's what I love about being in this digital virtual space. When I go, but then it's also a bad thing, because when it's time for me to actually go out, now that we're opening back up, or Florida, we've opened up. Now I was like, what do I have any clothes? What are clothes? So I'm pretty much in chill wear. And then if I need to do my videos, or if I'm consulting, I wear business attire, like at the top, but I'm comfortable on the bottom. Even when I was speaking a lot on the virtual stages, everything was, how it was supposed to look on top, and it was still either tights or biker shorts on the bottom. That is pretty much what I wear. Let's see. Who's my entrepreneur crush? I have two. One is Lisa Nichols, and she's actually one of my coaches. And then the other one is they come in seasons. So now it's really Amy Porterfield. And why? This chick is a beast. I mean, people know Lisa Nichols, right? Speaking, to me, she's the world's greatest speaker. And plus, she looks like me. She's a Black female doing her thing, and I just love her. The other one, now, Amy Porterfield, does not look like me, but I just love what she's done in the digital space. And for someone who doesn't have an education background, but she's been like this teacher of teaching courses, it is so fascinating to me. Like, I spent all these years in school to become an educator. She did not, but she's raking in like millions and millions of dollars, and she's really good at that skill. And watching her systems are like oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. Like that is what I want in my business, her systems. And she's like a well-oiled machine. Like she has things going all at once. And it looks like she's busy all the time, but she's not, because she's learned how to structure and streamline her business to where it appears that she's always on, but it's like a machine operating. It's like the Beyonce of the entrepreneurial space. She comes out looking like all fabulous, but knowing that it's a machine working on the background, and she created these systems, strategies, and structure, and she's my crush for that. So Amy Porterfield and Lisa Nichols, definitely. Let's see, the next one. If I could collaborate with any other entrepreneur in the world, past or present, who would it be and why? If I could collaborate with any other entrepreneur, I would love to collaborate with Amy Porterfield, Marie Forleo, Mel Robbins. I think it's Sandra Richardson. What is her name? She's a Black lady. She does finances. Hold on, I'm gonna look her up real quick. Lynn Richardson. She does finances for entrepreneurs. And Melanie Hobson, even though she's not an entrepreneur, I mean, she kind of, sort of. I would love to collaborate with her. So I'm really open. Anybody, really, Oprah, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Janice Bryant, Hal Roy. Oh my gosh. So all those people, they've been like my mentors, secretly behind the scenes. I've been cyber stalking them. So any one of those, I would love to collaborate with them, because they've done some amazing things in the world. They've left a lasting impact. Like people will always know their names in some shape, form, or fashion. And that's the kind of impact I want to have. So to be able to collaborate with people who are already doing and having that impact, I would love to do that as well. The next one, top 3 entrepreneur book of all times. I don't have top 3 books. I really don't. Right now I'm reading Unapologetically Ambitious by Shelley Archibald. That already is, I say everyone needs that. I wish I would have had that when I was in undergrad, or even when I was getting my doctoral program. That was an amazing book, and it's awakening some things. I'm like, I was like this, and what happened? And that's what led me on my own personal development journey. But it's like, yes, embrace all of that ambition. There's nothing wrong with that. So I would say that's a good one. Another one, I do like Marie Forleo's book, Everything is Figure Outable, because it's so practical, and you're like, why am I stressing out over things, especially in this entrepreneur life? Like, you literally have to figure things out. And knowing that pretty much maybe 98% of these issues are figure outable, that is a good book. And let's see, I'm looking on my bookshelf. This may be cliche, but the Bible definitely. People are always, it's interesting to me, like people don't want to give the Bible credit, but I said this in the video before, like, where do you think all of the leadership gurus and all these financial principles and things like that, where do you think it comes from? Now, some people can debate, oh, the Bible's not real, it's man-made, whatever. Hey, you get to have your own opinion, but I know the Bible for myself, and what happens to me when I'm connected to the Bible, connected to God, and looking at especially the life of Jesus, who was the ultimate entrepreneur, teacher, guru, whatever you want to call him, and the Bible. And now that I'm in this journey, someone said to me, like, being an entrepreneur will be the biggest personal development journey you will have in your life. I'm seeing that to be true. And now I'm having a different appreciation for the scriptures in the Bible, because now they're more practical and meaningful. And it's like, gosh, I needed that in this moment. Or the instruction I need, and I read several translations so it can just be plain to me. So I will say maybe the Bible is number one, and not to be all deep and religious or anything like that, but just the practicality of the words when you're looking at it, especially as an entrepreneur. You're like, man, thank you, Jesus. I needed those words of wisdom. So that's what I will say. The next question, where do I get my best work done? The best ideas come either in the shower or while I meditate. That's where the ideas come. The best work comes from when I am sitting on my couch with some background noise, like a TV or an old movie that's playing. And I'll be honest, I've been working on this course, or kind of this program. I'm working on it, and I've been playing Sister Act 1 and 2 in the background, because it's like a familiar sound. I can't sit in silence. Well, I don't want to say I can't. I don't like to sit in silence. So I'll have something to where I don't really need to pay attention, but it's like noise in the background. And plus, since I'm like in my house pretty much all day, I need to hear some movement, some noise. And that's what I will say I miss about being in a physical environment when I was there, because you hear a lot of background noise and you don't realize how much you miss it. But anyway, in my living room, I do have a dedicated office, and I do that. I can do my videos in here, presentations in here. But when it's time for me to do concentrated work, I'm like in my living room. And sometimes I'll do it in here, but I get the best work done in my living room, sitting on my couch, sitting with my legs crossed, computer in my lap, and TV on, some sort of older movie. Next question, let's see. You are working super late and need sustenance. What drink, snack items would you find in your desk, or in my case, in my house? So I will always have some water. I love my cup. Do you like my cup? One of my sorority sisters made this for me. Can you see it? It says Dr. V. And I got this because now that we've been in this virtual space, when I wanted to drink something, I wanted a pretty cup, and two, I wanted people to know who I was. But I'll have room temperature water, and then I'll have, during the day, it'll be coffee, hot, ice, whatever, some sort of coffee. And then I like crunchy things. So like maybe some multigrain chips, because I'm trying to do better with my body. But like something sweet sauce, not really sweet, but like kind of the multigrain scoops chips, just something crunchy. It can be an apple, it can be a carrot, but something crunchy is a snack. It can be almonds. So that is what I typically reach for, or make myself reach for, so I don't eat the foolishness. But definitely room temperature water and coffee. If it's late at night, did the question say late? Because I work depending on when I work. But if it's late or late that I'm doing work, so not always at night, then I'll get some tea, some hot tea, to soothe the inside and to calm me down, so I can actually focus but not fall asleep. So that's what I reach for. And it says, do I do tapping or meditation? Tapping or meditation? Tapping is when you, don't quote me, but I know it's like when you focus yourself on certain spots. I don't tap, I meditate. I meditate a few different ways, either full silence, guided, or with the light music, or binaural beats. I do meditation between 20 and 30 minutes. I'll do meditation and like really go hard, and then I do some other practices as well, but I prefer meditation. And then the next question, what is the best advice you can give to someone who wants to be an entrepreneur? The best advice is to really, well, my advice can only go to the people that are similar to me, who are traditionally educationally trained. And the reason why I point that out is because we're so used to having a structure that making this transition, it can be difficult if you don't get your mind right. So having your mind set up to where, if you, what I'm trying to say, understanding that you have transferable skills, and knowing that you need the same level of grit that it took you to be in your career, you need to apply that to be an entrepreneur. It's not something that's totally new and mystical, in my opinion. And that's like the realization I wish I would have had earlier. Like, really, chick, why are you struggling like this, right? Because it's like, how did you get to a certain level in your career? How did you get to a certain level, in your schooling, or whatever the case may be in your life? How did you overcome some tragedies or trauma in your life? Things are going to show up as an entrepreneur, and it's going to test you who you are at your core. And if you remember that you are this strong, resilient, determined person, you know how to persevere and all of that, you will do much better. For some reason, like for me and then the people I work with, it's like this is something totally different. And it's like we've been in situations where it's been totally different anyway. But I think the term entrepreneur is a mind trick. And that's what I've been realizing, especially reading Shelley's book. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Unapologetically Ambitious. It's like you've been in these, you've put yourself out there, you've taken risk a whole bunch of times, and this is no different. So getting your mind right and understanding who you are as a person, regardless of the situation, you will do much better coming out of the gate once you decide you want to be a full-time entrepreneur. I will say start now looking at structure, having a real strategy, a real plan, because if you're like me and my crew, you don't realize how much strategy you actually had when you were mapping out going to school, getting your career, moving up the ladder. You need to take that same skill set that you have. And here's the thing, you don't realize you have it because it was second nature, it was something you had to do or something you were expected to do. As an entrepreneur, you don't really see it that way, because if you're like me, you're like, oh, that's for the business type person, that's for that type of person over there. But it's not. It's, if anything, I think you're better prepared if you know how to do all of that. You balance so many things at one time already. School, work, life, you've done that before. So it's nothing different. But, like I said, that's just from my perspective. And I'm telling you that now, if you go on with that mindset, it's just a different title, different label, same skills apply. So that is what I would share for someone who wants to become an entrepreneur. And if you want to become an entrepreneur, because everyone doesn't, and I don't believe everyone needs to be, that's why a lot of my people are parallelpreneurs. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, that means the desire is already inside of you and you're already equipped to do that. And I wish someone would have told me that, or would have tapped into a group or community earlier to know that is, if you have that calling or that inkling or that tug, you're already set up to do what you need to do and be very successful at being an entrepreneur. So that is the advice I'm giving. I hope you enjoyed the entrepreneur tag. I'm enjoying it. That it was one of my favorite videos, because even though I know the questions, I really did not look at them ahead of time, because I wanted to give you an organic answer and something that's not rehearsed. So yes, thank you so much for listening to the Entrepreneur Tag. Any questions that stood out to you, I want you to answer them down below. Or if you have another question for me, please ask me, because I love reading your comments down in the comment section. And remember, we're in the middle of a giveaway, so go back to all of the other videos. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the videos, and comment down below a takeaway, something you agree with. And if you do not agree, make sure you tell me that as well. So remember to be well, be empowered, be bold, and be brilliant. Until next time, bye.